So we don't have anything in experience other than the body and the mind, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So this experience that you're having, what we want to do is understand, well, what is the experience of the body and the mind? The body and the mind that we say we experience every day, what is that experience essentially? It's obviously not a table. It's obviously not a dog. It's obviously not anything that we are experiencing outside of us. It is an experience that we're having immediately. It's not a concept. It's not an idea. It's not a memory. It's whatever it is that is actually happening. Now, let's just say that the dog did come over again, which he probably will, and nudge you with his head, right?
Mm-hmm.
If without using memory, without using concepts, you would not have the knowledge of the dog. You wouldn't know what it was. You would just experience a sensation. And that
Mm-hmm.
sensation, is that sensation inside or outside you?
Inside.
Well, let's just take your hands on the table. Is the experience of your hands the sensation that you're having, which isn't really a table? We're removing the concepts. You're having a sensational experience, right? An
Mm-hmm.
experience of a sensation. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You don't know what you're sensing. You don't know what it is. You just know that there is an experience of something, and that type of experience we call a sensation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that sensation taking place inside or outside you?
Outside.
If your sensation was taking place outside you, how could you experience it? Would you agree that if the experience of the sensation took place
Mm-hmm.
outside you, that would mean it has to take place outside of experience, right?
Mm-hmm. It has to me finish and the experience start, something like that.
Yes.
It
Well,
would
well,
have to be
think of it.
divided.
Yes. Don't try and think of answers you think I want to hear. We just want to reduce this to simplicity. So you are wherever experience takes place because you're the one having experience. And so does the sensation that you're having of your hands, removing the concept hands, removing the concept table, does that experience as it is take place outside of experience?
No.
So could that experience take place outside you?
No.
No, of course not. In the same way that a thought doesn't take place outside you, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the same way, how could a sensation take place outside you? So
Even when I consider everything else around me,
you've
people.
just moved into thought again to create another concept. So
Yes.
this is what you have to learn to do. You asked me the question,
Mhm.
how do I recognize my true nature? This is the path. We cannot appropriate concepts. The minute we
Mhm.
step into thought, memory, the minute we start to create concepts is the minute that we will not recognize our true nature because we are appropriating other things that are not true fundamentally. So we need to look for an absolute truth. The absolute truth is that in this experience right now, this isn't might not necessarily be absolute truth. We're not there yet. But you need to see that your entire experience is simply of the body, this sensation.
Mhm.
Your body is a sensation. Your body's not a body. Right now, in your experience, can you find a shape to your body?
No.
Can you distinguish where um your knee starts and where the space outside it ends?
Mhm.
No, exactly. There's no shape to the body. In the same way, there's no border to the body. There's no place where you can say my body starts here and it finishes there, right?
Mhm.
It's just like it's like a cloud of knowing. It's the only experience we have of the sensation is that you know it's there, right? Can you find any other quality to the experience of your body other than sensation?
No.
And can you find any other quality to the sensation other than the fact you know it's there?
No.
Exactly. So the body is a very simple experience. It's a sensation. Now you have the mind. The mind is what? When we say the mind, what are we actually talking about?
Thoughts.
Thoughts. Thoughts, exactly. So you have thoughts and you have sensations.
Mhm.
And if you were to open your eyes, we're not going to do this yet. The visual field is not as simple to go through. We'll stick with the other ones. You don't have to go through all of them. If think of this investigation as like pulling the legs of a table. If you pull one leg of the table, the rest follow. We're just going to stick with the most easiest ones. So your entire experience, and along with thought, you have perception. So when I say perception, I mean the experience of the five faculties of experience. We've already done one, sensation. That's one of them. The body
Mhm.
is a sense faculty. This is what we have to see. The body is itself a part of the sense faculties. So now we look at the sense faculties are sensation, sights, smells, tastes, and sounds.
Mhm.
They're the five senses. Now the body is itself a part of those five senses. It is both a sensation. We can't really consider a sound of the body. Sound is not necessarily taking place in the body. Neither is the sight of the body taking place in the body. You see, so what we see of the body is not really the body, because the sight of the body, as you know right now in your experience, there is no sight of the body in the actual experience of it. The thing that we see doesn't take place in the actual experience of the body, which you know is a sensation right now, right?
Mhm.
So we could say that another body is like the visual representation of somebody else's sense, another mind's sense faculties. That would be a body. So what you're experiencing is sensation. You're experiencing sights, you're experiencing smells, touches, and tastes. You're experiencing the five senses of perception, right? So there's no actual experience of the body. The body is a collection of those perceptions, you see?
Mhm.
You're not in the body's not a solid thing that we think is just always there, like a little doll that just sits in the dollhouse. It's made of these sensations and perceptions. So now the other thing we have is thought. You have thoughts. Thought is also, we could say, is memory and visualization. We can visualize and we can remember, but visualization and remembering, they're like abstract thoughts, right? If we say thoughts, when we think a thought, right, we think, oh, what am I having for dinner tonight? It comes in the form of language, which is a sound like experience, right?
Mhm.
So that is your experience. That's the only experience you have, is the experience of your perceptions. Even your thoughts appear as a perception. You see, they appear as a sound like experience or as a sight like experience. So that would be the body mind. The body and the mind are not separate things. We think that we have a body and a mind. No, we don't. We have a body mind. The body mind, which I hate saying, sounds terrible. The body mind is one thing. You see, it's one system. The body that we see when we open our eyes is merely the visual representation of the internal experience of perception.
Mhm.
Likewise, when we see another body, we are seeing another formless mind's visual representation of their sense perceptions. So all your experience is simply we could bring it down to thought and perception. The body is a part of the perceptions, and then you have thoughts. That's it. That's the body-mind complex, thought and perception. And now there's one other element. Can you describe to me that last element that we've missed?
Feeling?
No, feeling is another part of perception. It's part of sensation. I'll give you a
Mm,
hint. It's not an object.
I don't know.
It would be the awareness of thought and perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we could say there's three elements to our experience: thought, perception, and the awareness of thought and perception. So what we tend to do is get caught up in the thought and perception, which is essentially our life. Our life is made of thoughts and perceptions. The content of our life, that is. Even the experience of a banana, the experience of a flower, the experience of a TV, they are made, think about it, they're made of thought and perceptions. You have a cup of tea. What is the experience of a cup of tea? Well, if you touch it, it's a sensation. If it's a hot cup of tea, it's going to be warm. Warm is itself a form of sensation. You see, temperature is a sensation. Then we taste it. We have the faculty of taste. If we look at it, we have the faculty of color, of sight. All objects are made of perception. So all our experience, including the body, is formless perception.
Mm-hmm.
And then so what we're doing is we're getting lost in the perceptions of experience, the thoughts and the perceptions of experience. So what we need to do is, instead of focusing all our attention on thought and perception, bring our attention to that fact of being aware of thought and perception. The other faculty, the primary sense, if we think of the perception and thinking as senses, the primary sense is that which allows the senses to be sensed, which is awareness itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now that awareness, you see that clearly right now, right? You are aware. There is
Mm-hmm.
an aware aspect to your experience. We call that consciousness, pure consciousness. Now that consciousness is not in a thought. It's not in a perception, because all thought and perception take place where? Where do they take place?
In consciousness.
Yes, but further, less abstract than that. Okay,
In
I'll
the
answer it for
body.
you. All thought and perception take place in time and space,
In space.
right? We can't have a thought without the experience of time.
Mm-hmm.
Thought is the time is the distance between thoughts. Time is we have a thought, pure consciousness takes place after the thought comes to an end, and we say, and then we have another thought, and then the next thought says, what happened in the gap between those two thoughts? The mind says, well, because I can only, as the mind, we're not the mind, but the mind's point of view says, well, I can only comprehend objects. So I'll say the empty, pure, timeless space of consciousness was the passage of time. That's where we get time from. So time is only relative to thought. Likewise, space is only relative to objects. Without no objects, there's no experience of space. Without no thoughts, there's no experience of time. Now, awareness is aware of thought and perception. Would you agree?
Yes.
So if you are aware of thought and perception, can you yourself, as awareness, be a thought or a perception?
No.
Okay. So if you're not yourself a thought or a perception, what must you be?
Awareness.
But tell me from your experience, is that in your direct experience, or is that the words you're just telling me?
I can experience that. I would say that I'm constant and
Uh-huh.
here,
Yes.
and everything else is happening. It's like coming and going.
Yes, and you're present there, aware of it, right?
Yes.
Now, is there anything else in experience that you could that is there anything else in experience other than awareness, thought, and perception?
No.
No. So you know you're not a thought, you know you're not perception. That rules out everything in experience. What else could you possibly be?
Space.
What does space mean?
Mm,
Well, out of the only three things that exist,
mm-hmm.
thought, perception, and awareness. Remember, that was your experience, right? They're the only
Mm-hmm.
three things that exist. Well, there's only one option left.
Awareness.
Sorry?
Awareness. Awareness.
Yes. Now let's confirm that in your direct experience. Are
Mm-hmm.
you aware?
Yes.
Okay. Now, either you are aware, either you are awareness, or you are aware of an awareness and you are separate from awareness. Which one would you say you are?
I am the awareness experiencing awareness.
Yes, you're right. You are awareness experiencing itself. Because if you were something other than awareness, you you wouldn't be aware of awareness because you'd have to be other than awareness, which means you wouldn't be aware. An apple isn't aware because it's other than awareness. So an apple is not aware of awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were something apart from awareness, you fundamentally could not even be aware of this whole exploration. Would you agree?
Yes.
So, in your experience, when you answer the question, yes, you are aware, you had to fact check it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had to fact check. You had to think, okay, am I aware? Let me check. I will go to myself and ask myself, am I aware? And I will go to an experience of awareness. And if I have it, I will respond yes. If I don't have an experience of awareness, I will respond with no, right?
Yes, and that would be impossible.
And that would be impossible. So it's impossible for you to be anything other than awareness. What else could you be?
Yeah, even if I don't want to be aware, I am aware.
Exactly. So now this isn't the whole thing. We have to the first step is to realize we are awareness. Because if we don't realize that, the rest of the process is null and void. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
the most important thing that we can do in this session, which we've done, is to realize that you are awareness itself. You're not a feeling, you're not a thought. You are that which is aware of every single thought and feeling. And that is your direct experience. When you go to your experience of this awareness, can you describe it to me? Try your best to describe it.
If I could describe,
Yeah.
it's silence.
Yes. What else?
Doesn't reject anything.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't label anything. It's peaceful
Yes. Why is it peaceful?
because it doesn't hold on to anything.
Yes. Is that your direct experience?
Yes.
Perfect. So that's your experience of yourself. That's your experience of awareness. Like you said, awareness doesn't reject anything. It's just aware of whatever takes place. It itself means that it is acceptance itself. It is made of acceptance. It cannot resist. It is pure acceptance. Even the experience of resistance is accepted by awareness. Otherwise, resistance would not take place. So you are this all-embracive welcoming. That is your, so this is when you go to that experience, you're not having an experience of time and space. That's beyond time and space. Now, if you take a taste, a sample of that awareness, and you start to like go there as often as you can and let that experience seep into your mind, your body, and into the world, the qualities of that acceptingness will start to represent itself in the world. What we call that formless, timeless acceptance on the level of awareness, which is what we are, how that looks in the world is peace and happiness. That's how it expresses itself in the world, you see? So this is an investigation that we can do to come back to our being. When we experience that, that's pure meditation. It's the essence of meditation. When you experience being with yourself without any conditioning, without any layers, without saying, I am the body, I am the mind, I am a thought, I am a feeling, I am happy, I am sad. You're just experiencing the pure nature of what you are, which isn't itself an object. It's a non-objective experience. So that's how you experience what you are.
Would I consider that a process of acceptance of who I am?
Say that again. Could you consider?
Like a process? I, I can feel that it, if I experience who I am, even if it's for seconds, go to the direct experience that is always here,
Mhm.
I can feel that. But I mean, if this becomes easier and easier and easier, or is another history that I'm making up in my mind?
No, the path you can think of it as like, right, we just spent 45 minutes roughly in this investigation. We want ideally to be able to just go there without any we ideally want to live there, right? We want to live in that place. And the next best thing is to not need a pathway to that place. So for in other words, we can recognize ourselves without needing any pathway like we just did today.
Mm-hmm.
So we forget what we are and then we go, oh no, I've just spontaneously had the realization of what I am again. I don't need to go back into ignorance. That's the next best thing. The next best thing from that is to have a very efficient pathway back to ourselves. It may be a form of inquiry, some type of prompt. Maybe it's a line from a book. Maybe it's a whole book. Maybe it's whatever it might be. Um, that would be those would be the best options. And the next option from that would be doing the meditations that we're doing, the meditations that we do
Mhm.
in the community. These will give you the autonomy to the all the other alternatives, which are just either to live there or to have a very efficient pathway back there, and ultimately then to have no pathway at all.